guys, Jackie Sabrin here, and I'm really excited about holding this 20-minute live coaching call for you. So I hope that if you're coming on the call and you connect with me, that you'll post a question or comment in my chat box here so that I can interact with you, because that's why I do these calls, so that we can be in touch more often. But I wanted to talk today about how to stop limiting beliefs that sabotage you in your love life. So I'm really excited about talking about beliefs, and especially limiting beliefs, because it's so powerful when you understand how your belief systems work and what you can do to change, make some small tweaks to your beliefs so that you can have the life that you want. So what are limiting beliefs anyway? So it's just like it sounds. Or anything that limits you from having, being, doing what you want out of your life. They limit you from living your best life. And it's more common that it's the unconscious limiting beliefs that really are the things that cause problems, right? Because the things that you're aware of, you can change. It's the things that you're not aware of. So becoming more aware of your unconscious limiting negative beliefs that are sabotaging you, so that you can free yourself from them and create something different. And so your beliefs create your experiences, not the other way around. And so whatever you're experiencing right now in your life, and don't take this the wrong way, is because of a belief system that's running that maybe you're aware of or not aware of, that's causing you to have the experience that you maybe not be so happy with. Maybe you're not so happy with that. So you want to take a look at your life and just note that the thoughts that you had yesterday and even today are the experiences that you are seeing right now that are showing up in your life. Because our thoughts are like seeds. When we think something over and over again, it's like we're creating an event that we want to happen. So just like if you want to manifest your man, what I always recommend that you do is you start to think thoughts that are congruent with what you want to create. Okay, so you're thinking about what you want, you're visualizing, your wedding, you're visualizing your man, what you'll do together, what you'll cook together, where you'll travel together, and you're just really spending a lot of time visualizing that, and that's great. So essentially, you're planting seeds in your mind, thoughts that will someday come to fruition. So they're going to sprout up later down the road. So that's why I always say, watch your thoughts, guard them carefully, because you're creating your future with your present thinking. But what happens is, a lot of times we start to think about what we don't want. And those are the most prevalent thoughts, because psychologists have now proven that we think 40 to 50,000 thoughts a day by the time we reach 50, and 80 to 90% of the thoughts are negative. So you can see how you take 2 steps forward and then maybe 1 step back, and maybe even a giant step back, because as much as you're thinking your positive affirmations, thinking about your ideal man list, visualizing what you want, if unconsciously and subconsciously there's a belief system that's running that says, I never get what I want, or there's no good men out there, or all these other beliefs that I'm going to kind of go over each one that I hear a lot from women, then those 40 and 50,000 thoughts a day are kind of very hard to stop creating those thoughts. Like, you can say 1,000 affirmations a day, but that's not going to overcome the 40 to 50,000 negative thoughts that your mind is unconsciously thinking. And so learning a process to become more aware of what your mind is sub-vocalizing. And when I say sub-vocalizing, I mean, what is your mind thinking when you're not conscious? So when you go unconscious, your mind's running a storyline about what he said, about what she said, or a past painful experience, and that's really common. It's easy to get stuck in our stories about the past. So when you're driving, have you ever driven somewhere and you get there and you're like, how did I get here? I don't even remember driving. Well, who was driving the car? So that part of your brain that's got driving the car down, and it allowed you to drift into some thinking, and more likely you're drifting into something that happened. You're regurgitating something that happened. You're going over it in your mind, thinking about it, and without realizing it, you may be unconsciously recreating what you're thinking about. And that's why we want to get really clear on what your mind's doing, and to be able to hear when your mind's sub-vocalizing those negative thinking, and to become aware. And how you can do that really quick, it's kind of off the topic, but I want to give you a little tool. you can tell what you're thinking about, especially if it's negative, by how you feel in your body. If you're driving along, you notice all of a sudden that you're clenching your stomach and your shoulders are getting really tense, more than likely, just quickly say, what was I thinking about? You probably were thinking about something that is not pleasant to you. So the indicator will show up in your body, because your body is going to communicate to you when you're not feeling good. So when you're thinking something that's not good for you or not positive, then it's going to show up in your body as a message, a warning sign that you're out of balance. So pay attention to how your body feels, because that's how your intuition communicates with you, through the language of feelings, sending you messages to try to get your attention. That queasy tummy, that tight chest, maybe a sore throat, those are all messages from your intuition saying, hey, something's trying to access you, so that you can become conscious in that moment and then start to address and more consciously what it is you were just thinking about. So I'll do another call on that more, the language of feelings and of your intuitive heart. But right now I want to stick to the topic, which is the beliefs. And I just want to say hi to Terry. Hi, Terry. Hi, Joanne. Wow, thanks for being here, ladies. So glad you're here. So if you have a belief that you want to talk about, please type it in that chat box. But let's talk about the beliefs that are the most common, that I hear a lot of the ladies saying. The number one belief is, I don't think it can happen. And so it's easy to believe that, especially when you don't have any evidence. You haven't had success in dating, or you haven't had a relationship in a long time. Maybe you've never been married. It would be a very easy belief for you to buy into. So easy, it's easy to believe, but it's also lazy. Okay, and so I want to just direct your attention to, when I say lazy, it's because there are things you can do to bolster your belief and to really even address that belief. But if you don't take action, then it's kind of like being lazy. It's just an excuse. So, and it's an excuse that your mind creates to keep you from feeling the pain that you are still alone. So your mind does a good job at protecting you, but it's sometimes when it puts a wall up to protect you, it's like, hey, don't believe it's going to happen, so you can just stop trying. That's great. It protects you, but it also keeps out the information you need to move forward. And so if you don't believe it can happen for you, then that's time for you to really look at who you're surrounding yourself by, who are you talking to. It might be a good time for you to look at your inner circle and replace those people. Because sometimes when we listen to people and they give us advice and it's well-meaning, but maybe it's based on their experience. Maybe you have a single girlfriend that you hang out with and she isn't having any luck, so you start to believe what she's saying, and together, you buy into each other's story, and it doesn't help you support you move out of that discouraging place that you're in. So really looking at the people that you're spending time with, who's supporting these negative beliefs, and finding some new friends, new people to surround yourself with that are going to influence you in a better way, to make sure that your goals and ideals are in alignment. And that'll help you with that belief that don't believe it can happen for you. Because here's the thing, whatever you believe, you're right. So if you don't believe it can happen for you, then you're right. If you do believe it can happen for you, then you're right also. So I would always choose the better feeling belief. I mean, the better feeling belief is clear that I believe that can happen for me. That feels so much better than I don't think it can happen for me. So take some more steps to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to be doing to make it happen for you. And so the other belief is, I've got some notes here. There are no good men. Oh, I love this one. There are no good ones left, right? There's no good men out there, or all men are bad. And this is, again, it's another excuse that the mind uses, rationalize. It's a rational lie that our mind uses to keep us safe and stuck. And so we always want to ask questions. We have to ask more questions of ourselves, as, where does that come from? Where does that belief come from? And the belief that there's no good ones out there, or all men are bad, I would look at that belief, and what I hear in that is pain. I hear that there's some pain so that you haven't resolved. So if you're resonating with this belief, or you've bought into the belief that there's no good ones out there, or that all men are bad, I would look at what painful experience have you been through that you haven't healed from? Because when I hear that, that's just a protection mechanism. So your mind's protecting you from experiencing any more pain, but it tells me that you have some unresolved pain that you need to really heal and release. Because as long as you have that belief, there's no good men out there or all men are bad, you're going to be attracting likes, right? The law of attraction, likes attract likes. So with that belief, you're going to be getting men that maybe are disrespectful, that don't treat you right. And so, yes, it confirms your belief, because the law of attraction is law, right? It's a universal law of life. So you're right. So again, really getting underneath your belief and following them to their source. And I'm going to help you with that in a few minutes. Following your beliefs to their source and trying to figure out where you picked up that belief to begin with. And so looking at these painful experiences that you've been through and healing those at the core level will free you from that disempowering belief that there are no good men, and there's no good men left and all men are bad. And so definitely wanting to heal that part of you. And then this next belief is, I believe I'll end up alone. And so this is a big belief that a lot of women share, and a lot of women are concerned about spending, the rest of their life alone and ending up alone. And so I really feel for those of you who are stuck in this limiting belief, because it feels really real when you've been alone for a long time. And so one positive aspect about this belief is that it is such a big motivator, right, to move you forward. And so if you have the belief that that I'm going to end up alone, then the fear of that in a way you can use that as a catalyst for change, because that's a pretty powerful belief and you don't want to end up alone. So let that push you as a catalyst to be able to make some changes in your action so that you don't end up alone. But here's the thing. I think that it's safe to say that we all need to be prepared to be alone. And so that's probably not what you wanted to hear. And what I mean by that is that we have to make peace with ourselves and our life. And I know I talk about this a lot, about loving yourself, loving your life, loving the single life until you meet your man. And there's a lot of validity in that. There's a lot of power in that, because you have to make peace that you might be alone. And so when you make peace with being alone, you actually meet someone. So the sooner you make peace with that, the more likely you are to meet with someone. Because when you're focused on, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone, you're actually focusing on what you don't want. When you believe that, I believe I'll end up alone, it's a powerful belief, and it's going to create a magnet. So it's going to draw experiences that confirm that you are going to be alone. And so what would match that experiences is that relationships don't work out for you. You're not making a deeper connection with the man. Nothing lasts. So those are the consequences of having that belief. And so there's consequences for not evaluating what your unconscious negative beliefs are, because as long as you don't evaluate them, get underneath where they came from and stop creating those beliefs, they'll continue to wreak havoc in your life and perpetuate the same thing that you've been experiencing. And I know that you want to step off that dating treadmill. And so it starts with the belief. The belief creates your action steps. So when you look at a belief, the stronger your belief is that you're going to meet a man, the bigger your action steps and the bigger the result. But if you have a very little or weak belief or no belief at all that you'll meet a man, your action steps are going to be very small and you'll have no results. So it really does all start with beliefs. And so spending time surfacing, getting clear on what unconscious beliefs you're resonating, and start to chip away at those and start to dismantle those beliefs is going to serve you so powerfully and much faster than anything else you can do. So this work is very, very deep work, and I really recommend it, because the dating process is so exciting, because it gives you the opportunity to see these beliefs for what they are, limiting. So, for example, you go out on a date and you'll have an experience, and through that experience, it gives you the opportunity to see a part of yourself that you really can't see on your own, because relationships provide mirrors. Somebody shows up, causes an interaction, and then you want to look at your behavior. Your behavior can tell you about your beliefs. Your behavior stems from your beliefs. So if some of your behavior isn't what you would like it to be, you want to look and see what belief is causing that. So sometimes we'll have a belief that I'm not good enough, and we might go out on a date and then conduct ourselves. Some of our behavior will sabotage ourselves on the date, like you know, maybe getting there late, or saying things that you don't really mean, agreeing to do things that you don't really want to do. Those all might be feeding into that belief that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, because you probably be thinking this guy is not going to call me back anyway, or you don't feel a connection. So sometimes when we like a man, that can happen. So you meet a guy, you're like, wow, he's really great, and you'll start to sabotage yourself because thinking, he's too good for me, or I'm not good enough, he's not really going to like me when he gets to know who I really am, because you don't have a positive view of yourself. So whether you like somebody or really don't connect with them, that belief, I'm not good enough, can be a very powerful belief that can sabotage you, again, to keep you safe, because it wants to keep you from experiencing any more pain. That's what your mind is designed to do, to keep you safe at all costs. And another belief is, another false belief is, I've heard some clients of mine say, is they had a false belief about what love really is. And so they were disillusioned. They thought love was one thing, but it turns out to be that it's something else. And that's a really interesting conversation. And so I'll just give a little stab at it. So I would say that we do, I think, start off when we're younger having more of a magical thinking about relationships, and it comes from our culture. I mean, look at Disney, and you know, all of the Disney movies that lead us to believe that our Prince Charming is going to come up riding on a white horse, and I certainly bought into that myself and hoped that that would happen. And I was very disappointed to see that it doesn't happen that way, and that's too much pressure for men, and they're not going to ride up on their horse and save us. In fact, men don't want to save us. They want to meet us as an equal and a partner in life. And so when we mature, we start to recognize that it's a healthier approach to relationships, is looking at a relationship, is that we're not two wholes that become one. We're in fact two wholes that need to stay side by side, kind of like two circles, the infinity symbol, side by side, not overlapping each other, supporting each other, but not becoming the shade under somebody else's tree, or not being the shade for your partner. And so I have a saying that I say to Michael. We say, I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me. And it works really well. In other words, I'm not responsible for meeting his emotional needs. He's not responsible for meeting my emotional needs. I'm responsible for meeting all of my emotional needs. When I respond to myself with ability, so that's that word, responsibility, when I respond to me with ability, then I can address whatever's coming up in me. And then when I am with him, I'm coming from a place of wholeness, a place of calm, a place of security, because the truth is that security doesn't lie in external sources. We're learning that as we mature more and more and become wiser women, that security is an internal thing. The way I feel secure and safe and sane in my life is for me meeting my needs, my emotional needs, as they surface. As soon as the need surfaces, I'm there to meet it. I'm not abandoning myself in that process. So sometimes we expect our partner to be able to read our mind and know that we have a need, but if we don't express and share that with them and invite them to help us to examine what could be going on, then we can't really expect them to be able to meet that need. And a lot of women get disillusioned because I hear, you know, he doesn't understand me, he doesn't listen to me. Well, a part of that could be you. You could be the problem because you're not aware that these are your needs, and you need to learn to meet them on your own, or at least bring them to your partner in a way that, and out of curiosity, help me to understand, you know, when this happened, things like that. And so as we mature, going back to this false belief about what love is, we bring to the table an ability to become more whole in the relationship. And so now the relationship isn't necessarily to make you happy, it's to help you grow. That's what relationships are designed for, and that is very exciting to me. But here's the wonderful thing. When you grow, you become really happy. And so You're there in a relationship for your personal growth, and that personal growth makes you very happy. So you don't come into a relationship so the other person can make you happy. You come into it accepting, knowing, believing, and understanding that you are the cause for your happiness, not somebody else. And when you take responsibility for your own happiness, you take a lot of pressure off the men that you're dating, the relationship that you're in. Your partner can thrive in that relationship. You can thrive in that relationship. You're supporting each other, but you're not shading each other and becoming codependent, having these unrealistic expectations on each other for your love, unconditional acceptance, your unconditional love, your boundary protection, and your nurturing. Those are things that you want to be doing for yourself. And you're going to be feeling a lot better when you do that. And so the next thing I wanted to talk about was the too old belief. This is, of course, you hear this a lot with women of all ages. I mean, women that maybe don't get married in their 40s might have this belief, now I'm too old, and women all the way up into their 80s. But I love this talking about, and that's why I have my program Engaged at Any Age, because I know that we all want love in our life, and it's a fundamental thing about being a human, and we are love. That's our nature, and so we always are going to want love in our lives, and men feel the same way. And the why I know this to be true in terms of that you can find love at any age and every stage in life is because my grandmother lived to be 99 years old, and that woman had a line of men out the door, and I loved her for that. And she was married to my grandfather for 30 years, and she had another relationship that her second husband died. He had a heart attack after they were married for a month, and then she was married again for another 30 years. And then she just had boyfriends. And I asked her, what's your secret with all these men? And she said that I never think of the past and I just live in the moment. And those were pretty profound words for my grandmother that lived to be 99. So she really learned a thing or two in her life. And I can see why the men found her so interesting and intoxicating, is because she just had the most positive outlook on life, even though she had lost everyone in her family and all the men that she was dating. You know, she was outliving them. And so, but she remained with that upbeat attitude till the day that she left the planet. Her physical body left the planet a couple years ago, and I just admired her so much. And so I know it can happen no matter how old you are, because I watched my grandmother do it, and I'm a firm believer in that. So take it from her. It can happen for you at every age. You just have to take the steps in order to make your dreams come true. And I think what happens when you get older, we just all start taking less risks. We get afraid. We've been hurt, and we start to kind of duck down. We start to keep our head down. We want to get hurt, but there's no evolution in that. And so you want to just, you know, we have so much access to amazing dating sites and activities. Now there's tons of single people dating activities that you can find in your community. And more, we're seeing this is just totally mainstream online, to meet people online. That's how I met my husband, is through Match. And so it's becoming the norm to meet somebody online more and more. So I know that I'm too old just flies right out the window. So don't even buy into that. And so the other belief that can keep you stuck is dating is scary. And that's true. Dating can be really scary. But here's the thing. If you buy into that belief that it's going to keep you stuck, the thing, when I hear that, it's because you haven't become a skilled dater. Dating can be a wonderful opportunity, and it certainly is a place where you can do a lot of self-discovery. And that's exactly what I recommend using it for. You have these wonderful thousands of men that are willing to take you out. Maybe not thousands take you out, but there's thousands of men online that are taking women out. And if you look at this as not as duty dating, because I don't believe in duty dating, but I do believe in deliberate dating. And deliberate dating is when you take deliberate steps to set your intention to go on a series of first, second, and third dates for the sole purpose to become a better dater, to become a better listener, to become more present in your actions with men, to not take things personally, to detach from outcomes. These are all pieces that you can cultivate when you're in this dating cycle. And until you get out of that, until you master the ability to become socially skilled, that's what dating really is, right? It's having a high skill set. So you become socially skilled by dating. So it's like getting, it's like getting a degree in dating or in social skills. So I highly recommend dating. And so maybe you start off with dating as your intention is to not meet the one. Your intention at first is to get better at dating, to become a better conversationalist, to become more present, to stop taking things personally, and really look at your approval issues. Approval issues get triggered so easily in the dating process because we have this massive fear of rejection. And if you think about that, fear of rejection is really fear of somebody not approving of you. Because if somebody rejects you, what they're really saying, it's not no, it's just not right now, or maybe no is reverse on, keep moving on until you find somebody. And so when I hear a no from a man that I was dating, I'd be like, thank you for saving me a lot of time, and thank you for being honest with me. That just cut out one less, I don't have to wonder, if it's not a fit, it's not a match, then I move on. But if you're taking things so personal, like you're so devastated, that tells me that you attach to an outcome. One of the things that can happen is that you started doodling your name and his, in paper, and you started fantasizing about a relationship with someone that you really don't know enough about to make those, to start that process. So if you stay detached from an outcome and you just stay present and go with the flow and allow things to unfold and not make any, attachments to what's going on until that man has proved to you through his actions that his actions match his words, then you can start to form those attachments. But until that happens, you see a consistent amount of actions that match the words, then I wouldn't make any attachment. I wouldn't make any assumptions. I would just assume that more is to be disclosed, more is to be discovered. You're still in the discovery stage, so stay out of attaching to outcomes. And also, back to the approval. Approval issues is really big, and that fear of rejection is huge because at the core, we want people to approve of us. We want people to like us. Even if we don't like the guy and we're like, I'm not into him, but he rejects you, you feel like, well, it really, really triggers you, right? Because even if you don't like him, you at least want him to like you. And so the approval issues is a big one, but it starts when we're children, because the truth is that we want our parents to approve of us. In fact, we need them to survive. So it's a survival mechanism, and it's very dysfunctional. And until we examine and look at these approval issues and do more work around to release the need, this unconscious dysfunctional need for craving approval from external sources, we're always going to feel that that little twinge of rejection. But if you look to yourself as the only person that really needs to approve of your choices and things you do, you will find a lot more peace in dating, your relationships, and life. You will suffer less disappointments when you're not holding that other person as an object of your happiness. So in other words, when you look for someone to approve of you, you're actually objectifying them, turning them into an object, because you're not seeing them as a person anymore. You're seeing them as a source that will feed this need you have to be approved of. And as soon as they approve of you, then you feel better, and then you're back in balance. You constantly need that person, not for what who they are, but to gain some kind of need that you have, to fulfill some kind of need that can only truly be fulfilled from internally, from you. So that's why we want to look at this big fear of rejection. And so to wrap it all up on what I've shared, let's go back to our belief systems. And I went over several beliefs, limiting beliefs that are common with women. Maybe you resonated with a few of them. Maybe you have a few of your own that I would love for you to hit reply on the email when I send out the video, or even pop in the chat box here so that I can coach you around it. And so wanted to talk a little bit about your belief systems, and I want to give you a tool that you can use right away. It's going to help you to start to create a belief that will cause you to have the experience of having your soulmate. And so this is what I call a fourth level belief. A fourth level belief is a belief that you create with your conscious mind so that you can have the experience that belief will bring. And that's why it's really exciting. You can say that you want whatever you want in your life and then start to work towards having that. And so I'm going to give you the belief now. So the belief, the intention that you set is going to be something that as if it's already happened. So you're going to set a belief so that as if it's already happened, so that you can have the experience of that belief. And so the belief that I'm going to give you, and I want you to write this down, is I now have a man who loves and adores me. I now have a man who loves and adores me. So you start saying that belief over and over again. I now have a man who loves and adores me. And if you want to add something to it, like we live happily in the seaside community in San Diego with our 2 beautiful dogs in our beautiful home. So you're talking into that belief as if it's already happened. So you can start to program your mind, because beliefs are just programs. They're programs that have been running, and a lot of them are outdated. And so by adding in this 4th level belief with your conscious mind, you're creating a belief system about something that you want to experience. And then once you plant that seed or create that affirmation, I would write it down and post it where you can see it. Post it on a little yellow sticky and put it on your computer, on your mirror in the bathroom. Hey, you can write it in lipstick on your mirror in the bathroom and put it where you can see it, so that you're constantly checking in with, I now have a man who loves and adores me. And so that feels really good to say that. And then you start taking action steps that push you forward to having that experience that you really want to create. And so I did this when I was attracting Michael, and I do this whenever I'm wanting to experience something new. And so how you can add to that is to start to create experiences that support having your man in your life. So if you now have a man who loves and adores you, you might be looking at your ring, your engagement ring, or your wedding ring, going, wow, that's so beautiful. I love that. So I would recommend go engagement ring shopping. Go to a jewelry store and try on rings and start to go, wow. I want you to feel what it feels like to have that ring on, because when you can feel what that feels like, it's so much easier to visualize it. So it starts to bolster your belief. Your mind can't tell the difference between the real and the imagined. And that's why having all these little experiences that will continue to cultivate this belief system are going to be really helpful, because the feeling of having a ring on, trying it on, looking at it, or even buying yourself a beautiful ring and starting to wear it around the house, or wear it on your dates, wear it on your other hand, so that you can start to feel what that would feel like to actually have that ring and be married to that man, to your man. And so trying on wedding dresses as another thing. Going to places that you want to share with your beloved. And so little things like this, again, help you to create that vision, so you can really tap into the power of your visualization. And it's kind of like sucking on a lemon. So if you even just saying sucking on a lemon, if you even think about sucking on a lemon, what happens? Your mouth starts to salivate a little, right? And so your mind starts to, in fact, mine just kicked in. Your mind can't tell the difference between the real and the imagined. That's why fantasies or visualizations really do help. Just make sure that your vision is congruent with what you want. So, take me up on this challenge to go and try on some engagement rings, try on wedding dresses. Hey, sign up for The Knot. That is a service online. It's called theknot.com, where you can sign up and register as a bride, start getting emails about organizing weddings and all of these things, just to start to read about it and make yourself more knowledgeable. And that's going to continue to support the experience that you want to have, which is your man. I now have a man who loves and adores me. And in fact, post here on my page about anything that you're going to take action on to start to get this belief going and start to give it some body. Start to really build some momentum with this belief. And so the other part of this talk that I wanted to leave you with is that a lot of the beliefs that are resonating more strongly, we pick up as children, especially the belief like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I have to be perfect, I have to control to feel safe, I have to distance myself, I don't have a voice. These are all unconscious beliefs that we pick up as a child when we don't have the physical strength or the critical thinking skills to understand what's happening to us. I mean, I was raised in in a large family. My mother was a single parent, and so we were challenged economically. And my mother had a lot of fearful thinking. she passed that on to me. So I grew up with a lot of beliefs around I'm not good enough. I didn't feel good enough. And I had to share my sister's clothes. And so I had this belief resonating when I grew up that I never examined. I didn't have the tools to examine. I didn't even know it was resonating. I was just living out the consequences of having that belief. It's only after I got divorced that I started to take a look at what was causing the divorce, what caused the dysfunction, started to recognize the pattern of my thinking and where it came from. So I really encourage all of you to do the work around examining these belief systems. Really question your thinking. A lot of this is just incorrect thinking. There is nothing wrong with any of you. You're all amazing women. You're going to find love, but you have some incorrect thinking. And it's your job on this journey to start to question your thinking. Because if you get in there and you start to notice this belief, it's absolutely not true. You are good enough. You are worthy. You're deserving as anybody else. It's your birthright to have love because you are love. And so really starting to look at where does that belief come from? Where does the belief? And follow it to its source. You're going to follow it all the way back to a time when you were probably a small child. You didn't have something, maybe somebody wasn't there for you and it really hurt you and you're still carrying this belief to this day. So starting to do that deeper inner work is going to speed up the process of you finding your soulmate, because it's these unconscious things that keep tripping you up. And because on the surface, you might be doing everything that is right. You might be dating, you're putting yourself out there, but you're still not connecting with men. Then I would say that there's some kind of belief that's resonating that you need to stop creating. And I call that discreating, dis meaning to stop creating. So you need to stop creating those unconscious beliefs. So going back to the dating platform, it's a perfect place to begin that process. You go on dates, you hit a couple roadblocks, you go home, less about what he did, more about what came up for you. Follow that to its source, figure out where that source from, and then get back out there and see if you can continue to adjust the way you're showing up your behavior. You start to question your belief systems because they're the reason that you're experiencing this disconnect. And in fact, I want to mention before I close the call, I do have 2 spots open in my private coaching practice. If this is work that you're resonating with and the message that I'm sharing with you, I would be honored to work with you, help you work through these limiting beliefs while you're going through the dating process, or work on your journey, that inner journey into the yourself, before you get into the dating platform. So there's 2 ways that you can go about it. But it's such an honor for me to work with the most amazing, empowered women that maybe everything else in life has gone well for them, it's successful in their careers, but they're not really connecting in their love life. And so those are the women that I love to work with. And so if that resonates with you, please put a comment here or private message me on Facebook, or hit a reply to the email I'm going to send out with this replay so that we can be in touch and jump on the phone for a quick chat to see if we're a fit to work together. Okay, so keep that in mind. I've got 2 spots left. I only fill my private practice once a year, so these spots are going to go fast. So if you're thinking this could be a fit for you, take advantage of this time. It's right before the New Year's. It's already like, what am I going to do next year? Well, this could be your next step, is to work with me next year and get you on track so that you can meet your soulmate. Okay, ladies, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate those of you who showed up today. And it's always so nice to see you here. Terry, Joanne, thank you for being here. And I hope this was helpful. And I'll talk to you again next Thursday, and we'll connect. And again, if you have any topics you'd like me to teach around, please let me know through an email, and I will set that. Also, if there's any experiences that you have that you want to share with me, that you need some insights, I also cover those insights on these calls as well. And so before I go, I want to share this little top. I love the new off-the-shoulder tops. I highly recommend these for dating. But this particular one has all these little cutouts, which I think are really cute. And there's even more down here. Isn't that fun? I just wanted to share that with you. So ladies, go out and buy your dating wardrobe, because the styles right now are really fantastic for dating. This off the shoulder is so flattering for all body types, and these cutouts are really fun and playful. So I hope you go find yourself some fabulous tops and maybe a dress or two for dating this fall and for next year, so you can kick off your next year strong and feeling beautiful as ever. So sending you all lots and lots of love. Talk to you later. Bye.